Before sin, before death, before fear ever entered the human heart, there was a world without shame.
Look, Adam.
A world where humanity walked in perfect harmony with creation, where the air was pure, the ground was gentle, and God himself walked among his creation. Adam and Eve were not born into struggle. They did not know pain. They did not know lies. They did not even know what it meant to hide. But perfection is fragile. In the heart of Eden stood a single command. Simple, yet absolute. A line that was never meant to be crossed. And somewhere in the silence of that garden, a question was waiting to be asked. Not a shout, not a command, just a whisper, a doubt. What if God was holding something back? What if obedience was not freedom, but limitation? What if knowledge was worth the risk? That moment, that single choice would fracture the world forever. This is not just the story of a fruit. It is the story of desire, deception, and disobedience. The moment innocence died and humanity fell. This is the fall of man. In the garden, nothing appeared broken. The trees still bore fruit. The rivers still flowed. Adam and Eve still walked beneath the light of God. And yet, something had entered Eden. The serpent did not force them. It did not threaten. It did not command. It questioned. Did God really say you must not eat from every tree in the garden? With that single question, doubt was born. Eve answered carefully, repeating God's command that the fruit of one tree must not be touched or death would follow. But the serpent smiled with deception. You will not surely die, it whispered. Your eyes will be opened. You will be like God, knowing good and evil. And for the first time, Eve looked at the fruit not as forbidden, but as desirable. It was good for food, pleasing to the eye, promising wisdom. She reached out, she ate, and then she gave it to Adam. Adam was not deceived. He knew the command. He understood the cost, and yet he chose to eat. In that moment, everything changed. Their eyes were opened, but not to glory. They saw themselves as they had never seen before, vulnerable, exposed, ashamed. For the first time in human history, innocence vanished. They sewed fig leaves together, attempting to cover what could never again be unseen. And when they heard God walking in the garden, they did not run toward him. They hid. God called out, "Where are you?" Not because he did not know, but because something had been lost. Adam answered with fear. I was afraid, because I was naked, so I hid. Fear had replaced trust. Shame had replaced intimacy. When questioned, Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the serpent. Responsibility fractured, just as the world had. And then came judgment. The serpent was cursed, doomed to crawl and be crushed by the offspring of the woman. Eve was told that life would now be born through pain, and that harmony would be replaced by struggle. Adam was told that the ground itself would resist him, that survival would come through sweat and suffering, and that death would one day claim him. The cost of disobedience was not instant destruction, but a lifetime of consequence. Yet even in judgment, mercy remained. God clothed them with garments of skin, covering their shame when they could not, and finally, they were sent away. Not out of cruelty, but to prevent them from living forever in brokenness. Cherubim and a flaming sword guarded the way back to Eden. Paradise was lost, and the world would never be the same. The fall was not the end of humanity. It was the beginning of the human story. From that moment on, mankind would live between two worlds, one remembered and one broken. We inherited more than pain and labor. We inherited choice, freedom, and the weight of consequence. Adam and Eve were not cast out because God abandoned them, but because innocence could never be restored the same way again. Eden was closed, but history was opened. And even in the curse, a promise was hidden. That one day, from the lineage of the woman, would come someone who would confront the serpent, not with deception, but with sacrifice. The fall explains why the world is fractured, why desire battles obedience, why humanity longs for meaning, yet constantly falls short. It is not simply a story about the past. It is a mirror. Every doubt, every temptation, every moment we choose our own will over truth, we stand again beneath that tree. And yet, the story does not end in exile, because the same God who closed the gates of Eden would one day open another path. Not back to the garden, but forward, toward redemption. This was the fall of man, and it was only the beginning.